So this is actually what you run for the race fuel.
This is race fuel. Race cool.
Wannabe race core. Tell me about your wannabe race core.
93 Miata. I've had it over a little over a year now. Probably coming up on a year and a half now, honestly. Had it like NA for most of the time I owned it until I went to Texas 2K. Another Miata that was turbo like crashed, and then I obviously ended up with things and then put it all on the original motor that was in this car. And that motor I just like didn't have a ton of confidence in at the beginning anyways, and then it lasted a few months until I was at Spirit Peaks, and then had an injector fail on cylinder 4, which if you know anything about these Miata motors, especially if you don't have a coolant reroute, cylinder number 4 gets toasty. So it after that it was like thumbs down. And so luckily Pops had a B6ZE motor, which is a European or Japanese 1.6 motor out of the 99 to 2000 MD cars.
So how many miles are on it? What do you do to it? This motor, it's stock-ish, but not entirely stock. I'm super overexposed.
Yeah, basically the entire like inside of the motor is stock. The one cool thing about this motor compared to like the US 1.6s that came in the 90 to 93s is they had hydraulic lifters, and this has solid lifters with like a shim-on bucket style. So you actually have to adjust valve lash on this engine, which was something that I had to do to get it to work in this car, because they came in a car that used a crank or cam angle sensor right here that is attached to the valve cover, and this car obviously does not have that. It uses the cam angle sensor on the back of the intake cam itself, like splines into the cam. And so I actually had to swap an intake cam from my US 1.6 into this, check the valve lash, and yeah, it's pretty much like cheap way, like really cheap shit. I just really wanted to get like a decent horsepower car that was in theory reliable and I could take to the track and just rip. And so that's kind of what we got. Most things are like eBay or just like kind of just pieced together. This car is Frankenstein, but it works, and I have faith with this new engine that it'll actually work well. Turbo setup, we got a electronic boost controller that I need to eventually move because it does kind of look goofy right here, but again, function over form in this particular case. We got some tiny eBay turbo, which is great for drifting because it's so small, it spools up real quick. So same thing with the manifold. Manifold's also eBay. Like the whole intercooler setup was again off that other crash car, so I got really lucky in that sense that I didn't have to make a lot of that stuff, which is cool. So, and I'm pretty sure most of them are like eBay couplers or intercooler piping, and then some of them are like Craftworks, like the intercooler is Craftworks, some of the couplers are Craftworks, and again, just all sorts of pieced together. But cool little cam gears up the front, OBX cam gears. They are, again, Chinesium. They're cool. They do what we want to do with it, which is try and learn and mess around with valve overlap, really just like camshaft timing. It's a cool way to get and mess with power bands on your engine without having to like throw a camshaft itself in there or something like that. So you can get a little bit more like adjustability from them, which is cool. Injectors, which is probably like the most expensive thing engine wise on the car, is Graham's 1000cc injectors in there. Those guys were definitely not cheap. Kind of some of the things you want to not cheap out on when you're doing stuff like this. Like it took us so much to find out that it was that cylinder 4 injector, like literally all the way to putting stock injectors back in the car and getting a rough retune on it, and then it running completely fine and throwing them injectors back in, and then it running like crap again, and kind of getting the hint from the spark plugs, and just a whole bunch of not super fun stuff. But hopefully these do up really good. I would hope so, because they were a few pennies. The strut bar is Gab. I had a friend who worked at like some race shop that was like, yo, Gab is like OG. I'd actually never heard of him, but if it's OG, that's cool. It's strut bar. Other than that, it's just like silicone hoses that are down there and right here. This one is like not even supposed to be. It still flows, guys, so we're chilling. It doesn't overheat or anything. Doesn't look good though, so I'll get one that's like actually meant for it. 2 Pro Alpha aluminum radiator. Pro Alpha.
This is what's making the video glare, guys. You can blame Skunk 2.
Well, that thing's awesome though, and then I also got it paired with the Mishimoto thermostat. This thing actually does pretty good during track days. Like, I've taken it to a few, and it, you know, for being a basically stock Miata with a stock cooling system, it does really good. I would like to do a coolant reroute in the future, but it's just like, it's okay for right now. The rear end is a NB rear end, so out of a 99 and up Miata, like 99 to 05 technically, so it doesn't have like the actual 4-bolt garbage axles that this car normally comes with. The NAs do. Way stronger. Pretty sure it's a 4.1 welded. I actually was able to have some fun in this car while it was still NA with 100 horsepower and this rear end setup, and have enough gearing to get a little bit of slidage in second. Was definitely difficult, but still doable. So definitely not Mr. Moneybags, but I was definitely throwing all my spare change into this car at that point. So the coilovers are silvers, super low johns. They ride amazing. I love my silver coilovers. Probably one of my favorite things about the car. So drivetrain is pretty like average in this thing. Stock shifter setup with the brass like shifter bushing thing. Typical NA6 5-speed. The teddy bear wheels I got off my first Miata. This car again just got finished and back on the road, so it's super dirty. I need to wash it. Interior, we got the Sparco Sprint passenger seat on Sparco and planted bracket, and then the Kirky driver's seat on some like low seating bracket deal. It fits actually really good. I love my driver's seat. Drift button, grip royale, steering wheel, and then peeking through the back you can see it. I got a Hard Dog Ace double diagonal roll bar. Other than that, got some random little carbon fiber finish panel that just came with the car when I bought it, and some terribly ugly trunk that also came with the car when I bought it, and some drift mark that I put on there.
Nah, they've seen the video. Real ones have seen where this mark came from.
That is true. I'm probably a little under like 10-ish grand into this car. Now I know you saw this without a filter. I know you saw this without a filter. I just got to get a filter because, again, eBay catch can. This thing was like 15 bucks. And when I was pulling everything out, I was pulling the filter off the top. Shit just exploded. So, yeah. I'm hoping now that like we got most of the engine stuff figured out, like future plans are definitely going to just be like cleaning it up. You know, little nicks and doodads and just like imperfections. I also really want to take this crappy white wrap off the hard top and then paint it black, and I kind of want to try and do like, I don't know, some cool like lace design on top. I don't know, do some other cool stuff with it, but I mean, I really just want to be able to finally drive it and get some seat time in it, like true real seat time in it. It's also got brand new rear pads from Hawks Performance, like the nice ones, because my stock e-brake cable is not stretched and it does lock up in the drive. Hopefully excited to get some cool content and drifting and slide and boost and turbo and bang bang. Yeah.